Hi, my name is Gerry Kelly. Formerly, I worked at the Western Property Owners Association as a director, as vice president, and president. And today I just want to talk to you about my experiences in the Property Owners Association, and also leader of another group called the Mobility Impaired Committee. With the Western Property Owners Association, we had many issues come up during my term. But we found out during our term and during our years with the Western Property Owners Association that our votes, whether they be in a general meeting or at a director's meeting, were not resonating with our trustees. And that became a source of contention. So while we respect the Property Owners Association and we respect the years of the gentleman's agreement, I think it's time for a change. I think the people that have represented us have represented themselves and not the people who are part of their section. And this came very clear on the third track issue. I remember getting an email from State Senator Campanen saying, "Where are your trustees?" And even though all of us on the Western Property Owners Association had objected to the third track, our trustees said, no, it's a done deal. You look at what they did when the fire issue came up, and they thought that they had been so heavily criticized on that issue that they decided to change the Garden City News as the official newspaper. We in the Western Property Owners Association were not aware of that, and when we were, the directors voted right away to say, don't do that. But they went ahead because they could not take the criticism. And one of the things when you're in public office is you're always going to be criticized. So you have to make sure that you use your judgment to understand, when people are critical, that's okay, if you've made the right decision. But the one issue, of course, with me that became the issue of most import was the handicapped parking on 7th Street. There are a lot of people that do not have access to 7th Street back in 2016. So from 2016 to 2018, I think I went through 3 traffic commissioners, and each time the handicapped people were treated very poorly. I remember that day because very well because I sat next to Jack Gerns and other people I represented. And the point to me was that when I started in 2016, I was starting because I had promised people that I was going to get handicapped parking on 7th Street. And I was going to do that not only for me, but for all the people who had asked me to get that. One of those people was a World War II veteran, Frank Serona. And Frank Serona said, "Gerry, you can get handicapped parking on 7th Street." And I said, "Yes, I can. And I'll work hard for it for you. Because anyone who can make 8 landings in the Pacific and survive needs to have a handicapped spot on 7th Street." And at each and every turn, the village made it harder and harder for me to get the job done. And my attorneys, before the mediation, when we went to federal court the first time, came back to me and said, "Gerry, do you know what their defense is? They're going to say that you are not disabled. So you have multiple sclerosis. You have trouble walking, but you are not disabled." That's what the village said. So I had a meeting that night with my board of the WPOA, and I looked at our trustees and I looked at my members and I said, "They say I'm not disabled. A miracle has occurred. I'm not disabled." I think the last comment I want to make is about the quality of the candidates being brought to you by the FABGC group. And when you look at them, Cosmo as mayor, his experience in village volunteering, and his background in architecture, something we need very much in this town. You look at the others like Mary and Terry, unique and successful in their field. People can get behind them and know that they're being listened to. And you look at Bruce and Tom. I mean, finer people you'll never meet. And that's what the FABGC is bringing to the table. So I think if you measure, an election by what we've been given in the last 8 years and what we could expect in the next 4, we should make a choice. And that choice is being provided to us. And it's an opportunity for Garden City to be the village that we all want it to be. And I think this election is about that. It's just about choice. And as someone who grew up here, I can encourage you that what you are being provided by the FABGC group are 5 high-quality individuals that will serve this town well. And that's what we need right now. We need people who will serve the people and respect the process of the residents' voice being important. Because it's the residents who really matter the most. And I think that's what we should be looking at.